I can't believe it's been the off season for 3 months and I have not made a single prediction video.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess, and thank you so much for joining me here today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Today, we're going to be making some predictions. We're going to be looking at what the projected lineups look like, who's come in, who's gone out, and what this means for this next generation of Flames players looking to crack the lineup. And of course, some crazy, bold predictions, more individually related. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. I'm so happy to still be here with y'all through the off season. And I can't believe it's taken me this long to put together a predictions list. But let's start with where we're at now on July 19th. Okay. We have not seen the Flames play a game in 3 months. It has been a very long time. I certainly miss, and I will miss watching the games on my couch and listening to Rick Ball call the games. I will miss that dearly. And it's funny because the Flames home opener is against Chicago. So I hope they kind of do a little something for him. Maybe, I don't know. They'll probably do something on the broadcast rather than in arena, I would say. But there's been a lot of turnover. It's like a bakery up in here with all these turnovers. But yeah, there's been obviously Mark Savard left, which created a vacancy in the assistant coaching position, and that was filled as well. And we talked a lot about the responsibility of the power play earlier in the off season, and just how it's not Mark Savard's fault. He's more than likely going to go on to Toronto and make the most of the personnel that he has there. But we have seen key players be traded. I'm talking about the players that were here during that division winning season a few years ago. Mangiapane's gone. Markstrom's gone. We obviously know all the players that were traded in season were gone. I think that there's only 4 players on this current roster that were there when we've seen a lot of turnover since 2022, and it's been quite the summer, or quite the busy summer. We have not seen Oliver Shillington re-sign. I think that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, him and his camp and the Flames couldn't come to an agreement on a contract. So we'll see where he goes. There were some new faces brought in. You get Anthony Mantha, who Craig Conroy and Ryan Huska both said that, brought in to help Huberdeau. And Ryan Lomberg's returning, which is a great depth piece, a bit of feistiness, someone that'll get under someone else's skin. And then Logan Cooley, who will be the AHL goaltender. And then I had extreme concerns about the back end, because I didn't know what you were going to do, because the Flames defensive depth is, at least coming into this season, not good. It's not good. It's gotten better because of the steps these players have taken and who they've drafted, but it's still not up to where it should be and where it needs to be in order to be a serious organization. But yeah, they traded Markstrom and got Kevin Ball, which I think is just like the coolest name, Kevin Ball. And then you have Jake Bean. So yeah, you got some B&B, some bed and breakfast going on that back end. And, while it's not, two more Uyghurs and Andersons, it's, still two decent defensemen. And that's what you need. It doesn't have to be pretty all the time. And we've talked about this a lot because we know the expectations for the Flames this year. It is, they didn't have this off season so they could go out and compete. We know that. That's it's not the case. The organization understands that they are rebuilding, and it took a long time for that to kind of, come to acceptance for the organization. But I think that what really solidified that was trading Markstrom. So they know that they're coming in here with a lot of fresh blood, new legs, a lot of green players, and it's going to be an opportunity for players to make the jump. And I think that that's fantastic. I think that's so exciting. There's an opportunity for everyone to grow. Obviously, seeing Dustin Wolf in net is going to be sick. I think that's going to be so much fun to watch. You have younger guys that are going to be hopefully making an impact. Matt Coronato, I really hope takes steps forward this season because he's talked a lot about all the work that he's put in over the last year, and I hope that we get to see that pay off. I'm really excited to see what Pospisil and Zary do again. I think that that's, I don't think that they'll be on the same line for a majority of the season. I think that, we're going to get a little bit of shuffling here and there, but I think it'll be good. I think that, there's plenty of stuff to still like look forward to, even if this team isn't going to be a, true Stanley Cup contender, which I think like is a little like bold to say because I feel like you can't enjoy at least the perception on Twitter has been you wanted this rebuild. Now you have to lay in the bed you made and like watch bad hockey, but it's like there's still stuff to enjoy. The overall product might not be great, but there's still individuals that you can root for, as well as just being a decent human being and supporting the team that you root for. And if you don't have to watch, no one's forcing you. But coming up next, we're going to talk about these projected lineups from Daily Faceoff. And when I saw these, I was in the break room at work and my jaw kind of like it dropped. But before we do that, we do have to take a quick break here. And I want to talk to you about a long-time sponsor of ours, and that would, of course, be eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Supercharges, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to fit your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available for U.S. customers. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. If you are listening to this and some sort of like big Flames news has happened and you're like, why aren't you talking about it? This episode was pre-recorded because I'm out of town. But I found this fascinating. I found these projected lines to be something because they're so different from what we've seen. And seeing it on paper, it really put into perspective how different this team is. So your top line is Huberdeau, Backlund, and Coleman. And second is Zari, Sharangovich, and Mantha. And your third, Pospisil, Kadri, Kuzmenko. And you have Lomberg, Rooney, and Dewar to round out your fourth line. This doesn't include, obviously, the RFAs that still need to be signed, or, like Matt Coronato's not on here, which I found to be maybe because Dewar has like some seniority. Maybe that's why he's on there. I find this so fascinating because we know that this is going to be a very different team and a different roster, but I don't know if the strangest thing to me is Huberdeau, Backlund, and Coleman. But at the same time, my first thought was, okay, this is a line of guys. Two-thirds of this line have really strong defensive abilities. Taking that off of Huberdeau. Huberdeau is a liability when it comes to any sort of defense. So, I think that takes some pressure off of him, less work for him. And these guys are also like older. So not having the Mangiapane, Backlund, and Coleman line is just going to be really weird and hard to get used to. That line dominated for a while, and they might not have always put up the points, but they were very strong two-way line. I do feel like there's something missing, and I haven't decided what it is yet. I think that you have Sharangovich moved to the wing, and you have Connor Zary at center. They've talked about Pospisil trying him out at center. So this is just, again, projections, and I none of this is, it's not set in stone, but it's very weird to think about this being the Flames roster. I think obviously keeping Kadri lower in the lineup works for now. I think, having, but at the same time, I think that if you're playing Pospisil, Kadri, and Kuzmenko, I think that should be like the second line. If you want to keep that first, I don't see Huberdeau, Backlund, and Coleman being your top line. And that's not like shade towards them. I don't know how that. I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to what Ryan Huska has to provide for us, because it's an adjustment period. Like, I don't see, like, I don't hate this. Like, this is what the Flames are. This is what they are. And I want to see Connor Zary up at center. I want to see that more. I want to see that consistently and really, exercise that option. Because if you have an opportunity to have him at center, why would you not take advantage of that? I think that the Flames are desperate for center depth. Like, we have been saying this for a long time, and I think the organization has finally come out and said it. And they're getting flexible, they're getting creative, and I like that it's not appearing as rigid as they like it's not, they're not stubborn, and everything is kind of fluid and flexible. You know, it doesn't matter if Zari's playing center one night and then goes back to the wing another. But if you want to actually explore that option, you do it. And they've talked about Martin Pospisil being at center. Who are you moving to the wing? So you're moving Kadri to the wing. I feel like Walker Duehr has had a decent chance to make it in the Flames organization, and I think he is a wonderful human being. I think he's great. Um, but I feel like we may be a little bit, that ship has sailed as well. Kind of like the Adam Ruzicka situation. Not to that extent, but like that experiment came to an end. And he obviously got claimed by Arizona and all that happened. But, is it time for Duehr to find a new home, and for the Flames to bring someone up from the Wranglers, like a Pelletier, like a Coronato, like those two are probably my main candidates there. And then, on the back end, you have players like Solyov, Kuznetsov, maybe Poirier, depending on how far he's come in his recovery and if we feel like he's ready to make that jump. But I really feel like the Flames need to take a chance on Coronato this year. I really think that they need to allow him to make mistakes and get back up a few more times before being like, you're going to the Wranglers. And not because it's seen as punishment, but because he has to learn to take those lumps. Every player does. And well, let's do it now. But coming up next, we're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you some of my bold predictions at this end, at the middle point of the off season. So you're not going to want to miss that. And we will be right back after this break. Game Time is the app that you should have on your phone this summer. If you love going to any sort of live events, you need to have Game Time. Game Time allows you to get tickets up till the last minute and see view from your seats. They have zone deals as well, and you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select games ahead of the game or the event. So whether it's a concert, a comedy show, a sporting event, theater, Game Time has you covered. And, there's all-in pricing available as well. So you're not surprised by fees at the end, at checkout, which is like sometimes the most like gut-wrenching feeling when you're buying tickets. Cause it's like, okay, like these tickets seem really good price. And then it's just like, oh, I could have bought a third ticket with how much those fees were, but Game Time has you covered. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me today on this wonderful bold predictions episode of Locked On Flames. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think, because again, these are going on the record in July. There is a very much timestamp. So let's see. Hopefully some of these I'm very wrong. And I hope some of them I'm very right. But I do not think the Flames finish above 5th in the division. Let's get that one out of the way. I think that the Flames are going to be a hockey team. Not going to be as bad as the Ducks. Not going to be as bad as the Sharks. Probably going to be better than the Kraken. Probably around that same mark. Unless there's another team that takes a significant step backslide, I don't know. That's just my honest opinion. I think that, obviously you have the Oilers who just won the division. You have Vegas-ish. You've got LA. You've got some solid teams right there, right? Let's rattle it off like this. Do I think actually the Canucks won the division? The Oilers did not win the division. I stand corrected. Do I think the Flames will be better than the Canucks? No. Do I think the Flames will be better than the Oilers? No. Do I think they'll be better than the Kings? Probably not. Do I think they'll be better than the Golden Knights? No. I mean, more likely, no. The Kraken, I think they will be better than. I think they'll be better than the Ducks and Sharks. So I am very. I feel like they're going to finish in the same spot as they did this year, but I don't know, man. 81 points, I feel like might be a little generous. But again, I could just be cautiously pessimistic here to keep the expectations low so they exceed those expectations. But let's talk about Dustin Wolf because that is something very positive. Dustin Wolf is more than likely making his full-time NHL debut season this year. It's very exciting. Obviously, with Jacob Markstrom being traded, that allowed an opportunity for the unsigned RFA to make that next jump to the NHL. And that's very exciting. I think that he has had an opportunity to get acquainted with the NHL and the talent and the level of talent he would face. I guess I'm just like a little confused as to why this is taking so long. I understand this is part of the process, and they're very lucky they're not going to arbitration. Arbitration is just such an uncomfortable situation. But I think that he does have a good rookie year. I think this is just again going to be another situation where you have to get adjusted and fully acclimated. And speaking of that, I think Matt Coronato takes positive strides this season. I think that he'll see more time. I think that he will have an opportunity to really, I guess, prove himself would be the term I'm looking for, because at the end of the day, he did what he could with the skill set that he has and the abilities that he had last year. And he had to learn from them. It was his first pro season. There was a lot of room to grow. He's been working hard. And I think that, natural, like moving forward progress is just natural. I would like to see him spend more time just on the ice in general. I want to see, a little bit more power play action for him there and see what happens. This team can't write anything off, and you just gotta let it happen at some point. The kids are playing. We've been asking for this for a very long time, and they are finally playing. I think that they flipped Kuzmenko at the trade deadline because he is older, and they're not going to sign him to a long-term deal or anything like that. I really don't see them signing him for more than 3 years, 2 years, and he might want more. So that's that. This team isn't a playoff team unless a lot of things go wrong but go right for the Flames. I think Backlund retires at the end of the season. Obviously, this is his second year. He's done his contract expires at the end of the season. Yeah, so his contract is up at the end of the 2024-2025 season. I think that he retires and passes the torch on to Mackenzie Weegar for captaincy. I think Backlund is still an effective hockey player, but I don't know what he would want. Like, does he want to do just like a 1-year deal? Because it's not like he's a spring chicken. He is currently he's currently 35 years old, and we see athletes play a lot longer than we used to. That is for sure. I think that they have just absolutely they take excellent care of themselves. Like, science and like medicine have gotten further along and advanced, so like they know what trainings work better for them and all that stuff that like you have to go to school to figure out and assign these plans for. But no, I think that I do think that Backlund retires. I think that that's going to be the case, and I also, not that Mark Giordano's a Flame anymore, but I do think that he'll retire. And the Flames will certainly do something to honor him. And that's that. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me on Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Remember to stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, stay hydrated, be kind, and I will see you all on Monday, and hopefully we will have some new contract news to talk about. But stay safe, and I'll see you later.